Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today is Friday, May 20th, 2022. And flooding seems to be making the headlines. A state of emergency declared in Minnedosa. Increased water levels on Little Saskatchewan River, a cause for concern, by Owen Devereaux. And in the picture you can see workers and volunteers in the town of Minnedosa putting down thousands of sandbags and super sandbags over the past few days in an effort to minimize the threat created by water overflowing the Little Saskatchewan River. The continued rising water from the Little Saskatchewan River has forced the town of Minnedosa to declare a state of emergency. The declaration was issued on Tuesday, May 17th, and will remain in place until June 15th. The town of Minnedosa is encountering flooding that requires prompt action to prevent harm or damage to the safety, health, or welfare of persons located within the boundaries of the town of Minnedosa, and to prevent damage to property within those boundaries, the declaration read. As of Wednesday, May 18th, the Little Saskatchewan had reached a point where it threatened to overflow onto more than 24 homes. Some property owners in low-lying areas have already evacuated. Provincial crews, meanwhile, have removed part of the gate portion of the town's dam in an effort to relieve pressure on the structure. Unfortunately, for each set of logs pulled, the estimated rise in water is around 3 inches. The latest weather forecasts suggest anywhere from 25 to 50 millimeters of rain are expected for the region heading into the Victoria Day long weekend. And they're fighting the floodwaters. You can see in the pictures. The town of Minnedosa declared a state of emergency on Tuesday, May 17th, in response to the rising waters in the Little Saskatchewan River, which has inundated several streets in the community. Above left, volunteers have been filling and placing sandbags in Minnedosa since last week in anticipation of the rising water level. Pictured on May 18th, it was still all hands on deck to fill the sandbags. Above right, Minnedosa Collegiate, pictured on May 14th, and Tanner's Crossing School are no longer accessible, so students have been moved to remote learning while the town deals with the flood. A letter to parents was sent out from the school division on Monday, May 16th, to let them know that remote learning would be taking place for this week and next. Right, water was washing through the dam on May 15th. Logs have been removed from the dam to help mitigate the rising of Minnedosa Lake, as the recent heavy rains have swelled the Little Saskatchewan River, which feeds it. And below, super sandbags were being placed along the Little Saskatchewan River close to 3rd Street Northeast on May 18th. The Yellowhead Center to upgrade change rooms and ventilation. The Neepawa Yellowhead Center has received some funding to make upgrades to the arena pictured above, specifically to a few of the showers in the upstairs change rooms. Bottom left, one of the old showers that has to be upgraded, by Casper Warren. Neepawa District Centennial Project Committee, Inc. is yet another recipient of Manitoba's Building Sustainable Communities Program grant. From the cumulative total of $642,283 in funding being divided between the announced recipients, the Yellowhead is receiving $34,575. These funds will be put towards completing renovations in the arena's upstairs washrooms and ventilation systems, which is projected to cost approximately $60,000. With this grant designated to be a 50-50 deal, the remaining project cost is already being accounted for by the Yellowhead. We'll be finishing out final 2 showers in the upstairs change room as they are starting to get moldy and are in need of more of a facelift, explained Lindsley DeHolis, Director of Operations for the Yellowhead Recreation Center. And we're adding ventilation to the showers to get the moisture out of them and to prevent any health risks that could come up. Then we can move on to other projects in the future. DeHolis told the Banner and Press that there's always lots of ideas floating around for what the Yellowhead can do next. Their next focus may well be on replacing the exterior doors for the arena. Heat escapes out of them in the winter and enters the building when we're trying to make ice, said DeHolis. There's numerous things we hope to get done, but it takes some time, so we'll see what other grants come out and see if we get them. In the meantime, DeHolis is ecstatic to have the change room project fully funded. This was my first time doing grants. I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm really excited to get my first project underway and complete, DeHolis enthused. Provincial grant allowing Neepawa to complete more road work. Just over $67,000 from the provincial government will help Neepawa get more road repairs done this year than they'd originally planned. And you can see a good-sized pothole in the picture. This is by Clara Patterson. The Manitoba government recently made an announcement of additional funding for municipalities' road repairs, including a significant sum for the town of Neepawa. Just over $67,000 was allocated to the town to help with repairing potholes and other damage to the roads. The province stated that the past winters and this spring's weather have made road conditions particularly challenging this year, which was the reason they committed $15 million to municipalities across Manitoba through the Municipal Road Repair Fund. The money was certainly a welcome announcement and will allow the town to expand the amount of work related to pothole filling and crack sealing that was already planned for 2022, stated Colleen Sinchison, CAO for the town of Neepawa. In the town's budget for this year, they have allocated $805,000 of their general operating fund for road construction and repairs, so the province's grant will give them a bit more money to work with. Now that the budget has been approved, we are contacting our contractors, etc., to begin to set forth a maintenance and repair schedule, Sinchison added. No details were made available to the Banner and Press about what roads the town will start or when work is estimated to begin. NAC Chorale is hosting its first live concert in 2 years by Clara Patterson. The end of the school year is coming up quickly, which means music classes are getting ready for their final performances. With the last 2 years' activities being severely limited by the COVID-19 pandemic, this is the first time in a long time that students will be able to perform live in front of an audience. The Neepawa Area Collegiate, NACI, chorale class is ramping up for their year-end concert entitled Rise Up Singing, which will take place Wednesday, June 1st, 7 p.m. at the Roxy Theatre. The choir will be joined by the NACI Jazz Band, as well as some band ensembles from Neepawa Middle School's Grade 8 band class. The concert will be open to the whole community, with admission by donation. It's pretty exciting to get back to live performances. It's been a long 2 years, and for this choir and for them to be here after the 2 years of disruption, so grateful that they're here and singing, expressed chorale teacher Blair Chapman, and super excited that we're going to be at the Roxy. It's nice to be back at the Roxy and also to allow us to have the jazz band there and to have those grade 8 ensembles playing. It's a nice way to almost wrap up the year. Chorale students are also excited to get back in front of an audience. Grade 12 student Grace Ferguson and grade 11 student Shane Adornado stated that it's great to be able to have a concert once again, but they're also a little nervous for it. Both students have been in the chorale since their grade 9 years, so they've had some experience performing with the choir, but not since before the pandemic. Adornado noted that this will be her first time performing on stage at the Roxy, which will be quite a different experience. Ferguson had done a school production at the Roxy before, so she's familiar with the space, but said that it'll still be a bit weird to be back up there. Both girls stated that they really enjoy chorale. As Ferguson is grade 12, this will be her last concert with NACI choir. Leaving feels weird, especially since I've been in choir for the full 4 years, she shared. I'm going to miss everyone in choir, and Mr. Chapman, too. Adornado still has 1 year left at NACI after this year and said that she plans to stay in choir next year. They also encouraged any students considering joining chorale in school to not hesitate in signing up for next year. You won't regret joining. Mr. Chapman's a great teacher, and it's really nice to be surrounded by people who love music just like you do, Ferguson expressed. Do what makes you happy in life, because life is short, added Adornado. First live concert for the Neepawa Middle School teacher. The upcoming concert will be the new NMS band teacher's first time having her students in front of a live audience. Kaylin McDormand started as band and music teacher at NMS at the beginning of this school year, and because of the pandemic, the only concerts her classes have been able to perform up until now have been virtual. The middle school band will also be having their own year-end concert the following week on June 8th at NMS's gymnasium. For their feature in the June 1st concert, McDormand split her grade 8 students into smaller groups and allowed each group to choose music from a selection of pop and movie songs for which she had arrangements. They've been working on their ensemble pieces since April. For the grade 8s, their last live concert would have been December of grade 6, so it's been a while, McDormand added. It'll be great because they're going into grade 9 next year, so we'll get to see the jazz band, and lots of them are interested in the jazz band, and they'll get to see the choir, and I know a lot of them are interested in choir, she added. So it'll be a great opportunity for them to see what's coming up for them for sure, and to give them something extra to work towards. It's the final concert for the NACI band teacher. With the NACI Jazz Band also involved in the upcoming concert, this will be high school band teacher John Hodge's last time conducting NACI students at a concert. Hodge, who has been teaching at NACI for 6 years, will be moving away after this school year. And the concert will celebrate our music making and our sense of community. The NACI concert band and jazz band had their year-end performance already, so this won't be the jazz band's first live concert this year, but it will be their final one. I just think it's really exciting that we get to celebrate our music making and our sense of community with a concert like this, Hodge stated. He noted that the pandemic was a challenge for communities everywhere, presenting a split in opinions and disagreements throughout the course of the last 2 years. I think the most important thing is that we remember we're all part of a community together, whether it's a big community or a small community. And I think a concert brings together all types of ensembles and all types of students and all types of parents. It's a great way to do that. Hodge stated that as the pandemic dragged ever longer, he started to wonder if he would ever get to host a live band concert again before his tenure at NACI was over. We've done some recordings and we've posted YouTube stuff, but it's just not the same. So having a chance to perform in the gym again was lovely, and having an opportunity to perform again at the Roxy is great, he expressed. It'll certainly be nice to have one last hurrah, and not just for me, but for the kids, because at the end of the day, I can't give them enough credit for sticking with this program through the entire pandemic. Grade 12 jazz band member Kyla Wahosky noted that her bands really enjoyed playing their year-end concert earlier this month. It felt really good after not playing for so long, she shared. She added that the jazz band is looking forward to the Rise Up singing concert as well. We're just all very excited to finally be performing again, and it would be nice to see a lot of community there, she shared. It'll be special for me and all the other grade 12s to finally be performing again one more time before grade 12 comes to an end. Hodge added that this is his last year at Neepawa. He wanted to share his appreciation for the community welcoming him over the past 6 years. I'm very thankful and appreciative to have been a part of this community and to have taught in this community and gotten the opportunity to know hundreds of different students. And here's a picture from Who Killed Mr. Gardner. A&B Dalrymple's greenhouse held a murder mystery event last weekend. Clues were set up throughout the greenhouse where customers could match up murder weapons with the suspects, eventually leading them to who murdered Mr. Gardner. Looks like it was a fun thing. And Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. There was a wealth of knowledge in the pages of my elementary school readers, nuggets that I did not know that I stored until years later. Oh, the high school assigned reading was educational and memorable as well, but this week, 2 of the probably grade 4 or 5 stories surfaced. Out walking, as many in our community are doing, the day was once again cool, windy, and the threat of rain was in the air. Leaving the house, I chose to don a lightweight jacket. Heading into the wind, I drew the jacket close, zipping to the top, turning the collar up and in general hunkering in for a gale of a walk. Turning the corner, out of the wind and in the sun, I peeled back that jacket, and before long it slung over my shoulder. The story? The competition between the wind and the sun as to which one of them would force the weary traveler to remove his cloak. You know it, the force of the wind, try as it might, only caused the traveler to draw his cloak closer, whereas the sun, in a very short time, had the cloak folded and carried over the arm. Winner! One of the lessons for me and to me is that kindness and warmth has greater power than force and bluster. Speaking to a grandson 2 generations away from my childhood, he saw the story as a traveler facing both adversity and blessing, neither force changing the directory of the path, but influencing the traveler. There is a path I walk that may involve a climb, a slight hill if we expand our imagination, or a swing around the trail to a longer, smoother, less strenuous walk. There are days when I forge up the hills with vim, vigor, and determination, and other days I swing through the oak-lined avenue. The story? The longest way round is the shortest way home. A lad, determining whether it is shorter to walk home by climbing the hill to his home or taking the road that curves upwards, a greater distance than the direct line. He found, as do I, that the shorter path requires a slower pace and more energy, and therefore is not the shortest way home. There is a snippet of poetry that I have not been able to track down, other than the 2 lines that loop through my thinking in a poem praising autumn and harvest. There's a hayrick in the rickyard and another one of wheat. Simple lines of an awareness of the blessing of abundance and the rewards of hard work. Words that spring in thanksgiving for my abundance, open to suggestions as to the poet's name and the title of the work. We are influenced by the words we read. Some of our values and characteristics are shaped by them as well. Some of the words allowed us to self-identify. I'll never be a lapdog licking dirty feet from Lone Dog by Irene Rutherford McLeod. I am thankful that I have found my pack, not running alone, but still me. Early lessons. Out of Helen's Kitchen features the Yellowhead Highway today. I have traveled the Yellowhead Highway, number 16, many times and wondered how the highway got its name. The Yellowhead is part of the Trans-Canada Highway system in Western Canada. Its eastern start is Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it goes through Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia, with Prince Rupert as its western endpoint. The Yellowhead Highway was officially opened in 1970, although the route it follows dates back several hundred years. The highway takes its name from the Yellowhead Pass in BC. The Aboriginal people used this pass for centuries. Its low elevation made it an ideal travel route. Upon hearing of a pass, George Simpson, governor of the Hudson's Bay Company, had it surveyed by James McMillan. With McMillan was a Métis trapper and guide named Pierre Bostanay, whose yellow hair earned him the nickname Tache Jaune, French for Yellowhead. This easily accessible pass was used in the 1820s and beyond by the Hudson's Bay Company to transport furs and leathers. It became known as the Yellowhead Pass after Tache Jaune. In the early 1800s and early 1900s, along came the rail lines of Grand Trunk, Canadian Northern, and the Canadian Pacific, all heading west, transporting goods and settlers across the vast plains of Western Canada. In 1917, when the Grand Trunk Pacific became part of the Canadian National Railways, the 2 routes were amalgamated into one joint route. Segments of these abandoned trail lines were used to establish portions of the Yellowhead Highway route. This made the construction of the highway much easier with the already established grades. In Manitoba and Saskatchewan, the road's location can be traced back to the Carleton Trail, a dirt cart trail connecting Fort Garry, Fort Ellis, Fort Carleton, Fort Battleford, Fort Pitt, and Fort Edmonton. In 1941, when Pearl Harbor was bombed, Canada declared war on Japan. The Canadian government forcibly removed nearly 22,000 persons of Japanese ancestry as enemy aliens from the British Columbia coastline. Many of the men were relocated to internment camps in the interior of BC to help build the Yellowhead Highway. The Japanese men upgraded 30 kilometers of the abandoned railroad grade into a road and constructed an additional 40 kilometers of new road over steep grades. Much of the work was done using picks and shovels at 25 cents an hour. They had to pay for the room and board out of their meager pay. In 1947, cities and towns along the Yellowhead began to organize for the building of a better highway system to meet the growing needs of the traffic along the route. The roads were straightened in places and often missed small towns, resulting in their demise. Little by little, the road was widened, improved, and eventually paved. In August of 1970, the Yellowhead Interprovincial Highway was officially opened in the beautiful Plains Museum. We have a letter from the Premier of British Columbia, W.A.C. Bennett, to then Neepawa Mayor Harry Smith, inviting him to the opening ceremonies. The site chosen for the ceremonies was 33 miles west of British Columbia-Alberta border. It was held there, according to the letter, for its spectacular mountain views. The letter said, "We believe that a more beautiful setting could not be found." I do not know if Mayor Smith attended the official opening. These days, the vehicles travel much faster than the Red River cart trains, who managed around 12 miles in one day. The fur trade era has long since passed, but the route they used is an important and efficient transportation route for Western Canadians. Now we know how the Yellowhead Highway got its name, to commemorate the Canadian-Japanese heritage men who were taken from their homes and families to build portions of the Yellowhead Highway. There is a Canadianized Japanese recipe for the supper this week, and she's included a salmon and noodle stir-fry recipe, which is not going to write down, but it's interesting. Spruce Plains RCMP by Corporal Jacob Statton. During the week of May 9th to 15th, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 50 police activities. May 9th, RCMP responded to a report of a suspicious vehicle and person in the municipality of Glenelg-Lansdowne. Checks on the vehicle determined that it was stolen. One person was arrested, charged for numerous offenses, and remanded into custody. Police received a report of theft over $5,000 in the municipality of Glenelg-Lansdowne. The matter is still under investigation. May 10th, RCMP was dispatched to a report of assault in Gladstone. Both parties were spoken to, and the complainant ultimately declined to proceed with charges. Police responded to a report of a suspicious person in Rapid City. Police made contact with the person and determined there was no cause for concern. May 11th, RCMP received a report of a stolen truck in Minnedosa. The matter is still under investigation. Police responded to a report of a stolen wallet in Neepawa. The matter is also under investigation. Police conducted various proactive traffic enforcement, engaging with several motorists. Several tickets for speeding were issued. May 12th, RCMP responded to another report of a stolen truck in Minnedosa. The truck was discovered a short time later, and the owner did not wish for any further police involvement. Police received a report of fraud where a business in Neepawa overcharged a customer on a transaction. The business issued the customer a refund, and it was a mistake on their end. The report of fraud was deemed unfounded. May 13th, RCMP received a report of an impaired driver in Gladstone. The vehicle was located parked at the registered owner's residence. There was insufficient evidence to proceed further. Police responded to a report from a neighboring police agency about a stolen vehicle that had fled from them. The vehicle was located in Minnedosa, which contained illegal drugs inside. One person was arrested, charged, and released on a future court appearance. May 14th, RCMP received a report of an erratic driver in Minnedosa who was intentionally speeding through an area where the speed limit had been lowered due to rising water. The matter is still under investigation. May 15th, RCMP were dispatched to report of threats being uttered in Bethany. After investigation, one person was arrested, charged, and released on a future court appearance. Police received a crowd control request in Minnedosa. Town staff were attempting to gather the bison, but vehicles were stopping on the roadway, making it difficult to do so. Police attended and politely asked that vehicles carry on their way. RCMP conducted 14 traffic enforcement actions during this period. Please be advised that the Minnedosa detachment no longer has a functioning answering machine. We recently received a new phone system, and we will not have the ability to have the voicemail feature for the foreseeable future. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Our office hours are Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. If you require immediate police assistance, please call 204-867-2751 or 911. Here and There by Gladwin Scott. In high school sports, the Neepawa Tigers girls defeated host Carbury Cougars 17-6 on Tuesday, May 9th. Hannah Funk and Shane Kaharski shared Neepawa's pitching duties, while Shelby Glushka was strong at second. Brenna McLaughlin hit safely 3 times as the visitors scored 9 runs in the third. Southpaw pitcher Tanel Steen allowed only 1 run in the final 4 innings for the Cougars, while Mia Lazinski crossed home plate 3 times. Gladstone is the 3rd zone team. Lexi Unruh clouted a Grand Slam homer, and Andy Nicolation, Tanel Steen, and Avery Kendall crossed home plate twice as the Cougars downed the visiting William Morton Warriors May 12th. Catcher Mallory Lockhart scored 3 times, and Tanel Steen was strong on the mound. Rainy weather forced the postponement of a girls' fastball tournament in Winkler and a track and field meet in Stonewall until May 26. In boys' baseball, the Glenboro Carbury Balder Panthers split a pair of games in their opener at Pilot Mound, May 10th. Colby Weeb pitched 4 scoreless innings, and Nate Robson scored twice for the Panthers in their 4-team zone action. The Prairie West High School Baseball League has 15 teams. Boissevain leads the 8-team South, and Neelan heads for the 7-team North. Carissa Kirkup, Carbury teacher, has been appointed assistant coach for the team. Manitoba Under-18 Women's Canada Games hockey team, Prince Edward Island, will host the Winter Games during the last 2 weeks of February. Kirkup has accepted a grade 5-6 class in Brandon's Riverview School next year. Spring usually brings some changes. Reuben Hoffman, a local realtor, has started a duplex on the corner of 2nd Avenue and Toronto Street, just south of the Collegiate. He plans to have them available for rent this fall. The popular Summer Shack will change hands officially on June 1st. Patty Hart, formerly of Spud City Food Mart, has purchased the business from Bob and Chris Robinson. The Parkland Ukrainian Family Fund has raised more than $100,000 in cash and furniture, appliance, and household effects for the 4 homes. The committee is working on $50,000 for each family relocating to the area. Brian Franklin of Deloraine passed away in the Boysen Hospital Thursday, May 5th. Mr. Franklin, Brian Ratso, his nickname, was an excellent math teacher, longtime principal, and mayor of Deloraine. Very respected in education and sports, he was the oldest of 3 brothers, Lyle and Neil. Franklin was very involved as a coach, referee, and sports administrator. Hockey was his main focus, and he served Hockey Manitoba as president for 5 years, 2007 to 12. Brian was the first recipient of the Frank McKinnon Memorial Award for volunteerism. In his acceptance speech, he mentioned some of the people who had positive influence on his life, and I was honored to be one of his mentors. He started this past Tiger Hills Hockey League season as a co-president, but resigned after he was diagnosed with liver cancer. A celebration of Brian's life was held in the Deloraine Multiplex with one of his former staff members, Bob Ace Caldwell, as the Master of Ceremonies. And the Carbury Fair returns. After a 2-year hiatus, the Carbury Fair is making its return by Gladwin Scott. Alan Christensen of the Carbury Agriculture Society is excited to report that the fair will be July 1st to 3rd this year, returning after a 2-year hiatus from COVID-19. With July 1st falling on Friday of the fair this year, they have decided to make Friday bigger and better. The gates will be opening at 1, and there will be children's activities on all afternoon. A new addition is the chariots and chuck wagons will be running 3 days instead of 2 this year, with the chariots running at 5 p.m. on Friday and the wagons at 7:30 p.m. Friday will finish with Kendra Kay performing live in front of the grandstand at 8:30. She recently performed at the Roxy Theatre in Neepawa. The downfall with July 1st falling on Friday is that they won't be able to have the traditional fireworks show on July 1st due to lack of equipment availability. However, the fireworks will go on Saturday, July 2nd at dusk, sponsored by the Carbury Men's Curling Club. One other change is due to lack of interest, there will be no light horse show at the fair this year. However, there will be a heavy horse show and barrel racing on both Saturday and Sunday. Many of the other favorites will be back with more details to come, or find the Carbury Ag Society on Facebook for more information. And here's the Great Benjamin Circus dazzles Neepawa. There's a number of pictures here. A massive crowd was entertained at the Neepawa Yellowhead Center on May 14th at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. The Great Benjamin Circus put on a variety of acts featuring strength, balance, and immense focus. Hula hooping and much more were sure to leave the crowd amazed. And Looking Back by Casper Werhan. 1982, Neepawa Lady Golfers planned busy season. And that picture is the executive of the Neepawa Ladies Golf League from 1982. Starting in the back, left to right, Chris Haywood, Eleanor Nicholson, June Alguire, Bernice Sieg, Betty Ebner, Jean Forsman, and Bernie Gray. Middle, Deidre Bays, Marion Eisenberg, Nancy Davey, Audrey Osmond, Linda Martin, Cheryl Judd, and Ann Lee. Front row, Cathy Cummings, Judy Holmes, Wilma Gill, Betty McKelman, and Maureen Benson. Missing are Anna Speece, Dane Knighty, Linda Dunn, and Fran Fraser. 110 years old, 1912. Arden, Miss McCamus returned from graduation at Brandon and left on the 15th for Bridgefort, Saskatchewan to teach school. 100 years ago, 1922, St. Rose de Lac. A young boy arrived on the train from Winnipeg Friday afternoon and is registered at the local hotel under the name of Harry Brown. Noticing something peculiar about the young fellow, Constable R. Shepherd took him in charge and soon extracted from him the information that he was Rose Wilson, the 14-year-old girl missing in Winnipeg, whose picture had appeared in the city's papers. After communicating with the inspector of the provincial police at Dauphin, he allowed her to proceed to Elkdale, where she intends to live with her grandparents. 90 years ago, 1932, McCreary. Early Thursday morning, the house occupied by Peter Schur and his family was completely destroyed by fire. The inmates, who were aroused by a neighbor, escaped through one of the windows. A few articles from the downstairs were saved. What's happened to the swimming pool? This question is freely asked by recent visitors to the spot which provided recreation and sport for townspeople last summer. A canal of no mean proportions has been cut through the above where the diving board was placed and is carrying off a considerable volume of water, which should go to around in the usual channel. A portion of the stone dam has also been torn up and the place now resembles a mud hole. McCreary. L. Cudney had opened a fine, up-to-date butcher shop in the Leith block. We understand this shop is the most modern between Neepawa and Dauphin, being fitted out with the latest type of refrigerator and other fixtures. 80 years ago, 1942, Arden, word has been received that Everest Hunt, grandson of H.D. McCamus, has landed safely in England with the RCAF. 70 years ago, 1952, it is quite possible that Neepawa has defied the laws of normal town development since the cessation of hostilities in 1945. While other towns of Manitoba of lesser and greater population stood literally still, our town called in the road builders, sidewalk makers, and architects and contractors. In rapid succession, we paved our main thoroughfare and built new sidewalks. We built a school, a hospital, and, to coin a word, scampered about doing town improvements at a great clip. LAC Orville M. Nelson left on May 15th for England, where he will be stationed at North Luffenham. Orville is the eldest son of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Nelson of Neepawa, formerly of Inkerman District. He returned from service in the Second World War in July 1945, after 2.5 years as a prisoner of war. He was among those liberated by the Americans after a 500-mile march across Germany. He returned to England and was married on December 18, 1948, to Miss Janet S. Hogg of Leicester. On returning to Canada, they took up farming in the Inkerman District. Orville disposed of his farm and rejoined the RCF in 1951. Since then, he has been stationed in Quebec, Claresholm, and McLeod, Alberta, and London, Ontario. Mrs. Nelson and their small daughter, Colleen Janet, accompanied him to England. 1962, Brandon, gold medalist in the graduation class of nurses from Brandon General Hospital this year, was Miss Sharon Pasquale of Neepawa. She received the honor signifying top record of performance for her class over the 3-year period of the course. Another honor was conferred upon Miss Elizabeth Graham of Wellwood, when she was chosen to act as valedictorian for the graduating class. Other district girls who were members of the graduating class were Mrs. Marjorie Joan Halliday of Neepawa and Darlene Cassie McDougall of Brookdale. 1972, Mountain Road. Mrs. Grace Levesque returning to her home in Petrolia, Ontario last Thursday after spending 2 weeks holiday with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mike Safraniak, and with relatives. 1982, Neepawa's magnificent county court building can be declared a historic site, permanently protected by law, Historic Resources Minister Eugene Costera said Friday, May 14th. Tracy Jensen, 15-year-old son of John and Gail Jensen of Neepawa, is a motocross racing enthusiast. Riding his Kawasaki KX125, Tracy will participate in approximately 45 races this season. He is sponsored by Activity World of Brandon and Green Acres Equipment, Neepawa. This winter, Tracy spent nearly 3 weeks at the California Racing Club, participating with riders from all over California. He improved his skills immensely. While there, he took part in the World Mini Grand Prix, placing 12th amongst 56 competitors. Earlier this month, Neepawa's racer received 2 firsts in the finals in the 16 and over division in Austin. There were 42 participants. 1992. A former farmer's field about 5 miles southwest of McCreary on the Ski Hill Road is gradually taking shape as the new 9-hole McCreary Golf and Country Club. 2002. The McGrath Regional Health Authority has placed an emergency request to Manitoba Health to replace a piece of broken X-ray equipment at Neepawa Hospital. 2 grade 12 students from Minnedosa Collegiate placed 3rd in the 2002 Student Auto Skills Competition. Donald Inkster and Darren Oakley, who were coached by power mechanics instructor Dennis Skabinski, were bested by teams from Winkler and Thompson. Plumas. As you drive into Plumas now, you will miss one of the old landmarks. The house known to most as the Uraniak House, or now as the Bob Watts home. Bob and Ira spent the winter and spring tearing it down. Bob said he found a 1906 date on a page from a newspaper in the wall. They are now waiting for a trailer home to be moved in. And some lawn and garden guide. Turn your yard into a vacation-worthy oasis. Warm weather means more time to relax outdoors. For those homeowners lucky enough to have entertaining spaces outside, spring and summer provides plenty of opportunities to enjoy fresh air under the sun or stars. Pandemic-related travel restriction and early stay-at-home mandates resulted in plenty of time spent in backyards on staycations. Even though many such restrictions have been lifted, homeowners may have seen the benefits of having functional respites right outside their door. Large or small, there are ways to make an outdoor oasis at home. Living in close proximity to neighbors may make privacy harder to come by. Wood or vinyl fences, however effective, may not provide the all-natural look many people desire. Vertical gardening, which trains easy-care vines like English ivy, clematis, or various climbing roses to grow on trellises or fencing, adds greenery and privacy. Hedges and fast-growing shrubs can also be used for natural barriers. Create a bespoke bistro vibe by using freestanding planters and posts along with hanging lights to make an intimate outdoor hangout spot at night. For those permanent structures like a deck or gazebo, lights can be strung across the area or on railings or edging. Decks and patios can help make outdoor entertaining areas more comfortable by eliminating the need to sit on the grass or gravel. Plus, they add another room to the home. When repaired with weatherproof patio furniture, such as sofas, loungers, and tables, a private seating area can be crafted and utilized for any number of entertaining desires. And now we have more sports. The Santa Clara Baseball League is back. After a year hiatus related due to ongoing changes to COVID-19 regulations and restrictions, the Santa Clara Baseball League is finally able to return to play on May 25th by Owen Devereaux. After a 1-year hiatus, the Santa Clara Baseball League, SCBL, is making a return to the Diamond. The league will feature 6 teams this season and are the Austin A's, Carbury Royals, the Ebb and Flow Lakers, Neepawa Cubs, Plumas Pirates, and the Portage Padres. Each team will play a 10-game regular season schedule, facing one another twice, 1 home and 1 away game. Garrett Rempel of the Neepawa Cubs told Banner and Press that the team and the league as a collective are looking forward to getting back out there and playing baseball. We are all excited to get back out on the diamond again. Missing a year wasn't what we wanted, but the rules that they had last year with COVID just wasn't going to benefit our team, stated Rempel. As for what the Cubs roster will look like on opening day, Rempel noted that they should be able to bring back the majority of their most recent roster. We lost a couple of players from taking a year off, but the majority of our older guys are returning. I would say 10 should be back. So we have a solid group of our core players. There will be some new faces as well as a couple of 16-year-olds from town here that want to get some extra ball in. We also managed to find an American to play. He is here for work for the summer and wanted to play. He played some college, so it would be good to have his baseball knowledge on the team. Tom Yando of the Plumas Pirates echoed similar sentiments to those of Rempel, adding that for their community, their local teams have certain significances. When baseball season is here, the community has a certain feel to it, a certain energy. It's not just the Pirates, but at the high school and youth levels as well. Everybody is talking about baseball, noted Yando. As for the roster, Yondo said they have lost a few veteran players, but that they'll still be able to field what they hope is a competitive squad this season. The Neepawa Cubs' regular season starts on Wednesday, May 25th at Portage La Prairie against the Padres. Their first home game will be followed on Friday, May 27th at 7 p.m. versus the Plumas Pirates. Plumas, meanwhile, has had its first game at home on May 25th against the Ebb and Flow Lakers. Brenna McLaughlin commits to Dakota College at Bottineau. Will be a two-sport athlete in Lady Jack's program by Owen Devereaux. Brenna McLaughlin of Neepawa will be pursuing some lofty academic and athletic endeavors this fall. McLaughlin, who will be graduating from NACI in June, recently committed to attend Dakota College at Bottineau. Along with plans to study for a degree in the elementary education program, Brenna will also be in Bottineau as a dual sport athlete, participating in the college's hockey and softball programs. She will play defense for the hockey team and be a catcher infielder for the fast pitch squad. In a media release confirming the signing, Dakota College softball coach Casey May Huff stated that the program is very excited about the commitment. I believe that Brenna will be a great asset to this team, both athletically and as a person overall, said May Huff. In a recent interview with the Banner and Press, McLaughlin said that while pursuing her post-secondary dreams in North Dakota will be a huge change from what she's accustomed to here in Neepawa, she's still looking forward to the challenge and opportunity it presents. McLaughlin was also quick to share the recognition, thanking her coaches, teammates, and parents, Ryan and Melanie, for assisting and supporting her throughout this journey. And in the picture, Brenna McLaughlin of Neepawa recently signed with the Dakota College at Bottineau Athletics program. She will be a dual sport athlete competing in hockey and softball fast pitch. And here she is signing her deal. And this picture shows a play at the plate. A Carbury Cougars fast pitch player just barely beats out the throw in a game against the NACI Tigers on Tuesday, May 17th in Neepawa. Along with this run, the Cougars would score 6 more on the way to a 7-4 victory over Neepawa. The win improved Carbury's record to 2-1 on their season, while it was NACI's first loss as they fell to 3-1. And water runoff strikes a portion of Minnedosa Golf and Country Club by Owen Devereaux. The recent rainfall has created a lot of extra work for the grounds crew at the Minnedosa Golf and Country Club. In a May 16 posting on Instagram, representatives with the Minnedosa Golf provided an update on the situation they're currently dealing with. They indicated that while the MGCC maintenance staff have fought tirelessly to protect portions of the course, there are still 4 holes dealing with water running over them. Minnedosa Golf and Country Club General Manager, PGA Canada Pro Patrick Law, said that pumping process to eliminate the runoff on those 4 holes will begin as soon as possible. Law noted to the Banner and Press the timeline for that work is dependent upon the weather conditions over the next few days. Until the pumping process can begin, the exact amount of damage caused by the runoff cannot be fully assessed. But despite the issues related to the rain and overland flooding, Minnedosa Golf does remain optimistic about the start of the local golf season. The grounds crew has been able to prepare the unaffected holes, and an opening date could be announced shortly. Golfers are asked to keep an eye on the MGCC website and social media for updates. And 6 NACI players were selected for the RMFL All-Star Game. 6 members of the Neepawa Tigers football team played in the Rural Manitoba Football All-Star Game in Winnipeg on Saturday, May 14th. They played for Team East, who defeated Team West 16-8. Pictured: Colin Madiver, Miles Willerton, Ward Brister, Coulter Burney, Jacob McCharles, and Dawson Jakubowski. And the Dauphin Kings win the MJHL Championship. The Dauphin Kings claimed the Turnbull Cup on Wednesday, May 11th, defeating the Steinbach Pistons 2-1 in Game 7 of the MJHL Championship. The Kings ended up winning the series in 4-3. This is the first league title for Dauphin since 2010. Kings goaltender Carson Cherpak was named 2022 MJHL Playoff MVP for his outstanding performance in the postseason. The Kings will now represent Manitoba in the 2022 Centennial Cup in Estevan, Saskatchewan. MJHL draft is scheduled for June 4th. The Manitoba Junior Hockey League, MJHL, and its 13-member clubs are pleased to announce that the 2022 MJHL draft will be held on Saturday, June 4th at 3 p.m. The draft will be held online, utilizing RinkNet Live Draft Center technology provided by Hockey Tech, with all selections being made available online to the public in real time for the benefit of all teams, players, and fans to engage with this live activity. As previously announced in 2021, the MJHL draft has moved from a under-16 draft, formerly Bantam draft, to an under-17 draft, highlighting players who are going into their 16-year-old season. Players who will be eligible for the MJHL draft are Manitoba players who are registered to play hockey in Manitoba according to Hockey Manitoba regulations and are in their 16th year, born in 2006. Prior to the MJHL draft, teams will submit up to 2 auto-protect selections from the designated home zone. Teams will have the option to decline an auto-protect selection and defer that pick to round 7 or 8 of the draft. Full details of the procedure and updates along with auto-protect selections will be released on Friday, May 27th. Whoop, there we go. And here we have Plumas Legion and PPI to hold fundraiser barbecue by Casper Waran. Plumas Prairie Initiatives, PPI, and the Plumas Legion, Branch 189, are partnering for a cause. On June 12th, the Legion will be holding a barbecue at 11:30 a.m. to help fundraise for the purchase of a play structure for Plumas Elementary. At the barbecue, attendees can make a donation for a burger and or purchase a 50-50 ticket to support the fundraiser. There'll be one draw made for the 50-50, with the draw taking place at the end of the barbecue. The fundraising goal for the Plumas Elementary play structure is approximately $100,000, with $30,000 of that having already been collected. Fundraising for the structure began on June 2019 with a $300 donation from Plumas' own student council. The Plumas Parent-Teacher Council has been working hard raising money to meet the goal, said Jack Sellers, secretary for PPI. The Legion barbecue will potentially raise another $2,000. Plumas Legion representative David Single added, "I think people will be very happy to have a community event again. As we well know, we haven't had many in the last 2 years, so I hope this will go well. I know the community is great at supporting things for the community, so I expect a good turnout." Direct support an option. Patty Thompson, a representative for the Parent-Teacher Council in Plumas, told the Banner and Press that the support from the community has been wonderful since fundraising started a few years ago. The council has had ticket sales for Jets raffles, meat draws, and more. And while COVID-19 has slowed that down for the past 2 years, things are picking up again. "The community very much jumped around us when we got started," said Thompson. "This year has really taken off again with a lot of fundraisers thanks to Plumas Prairie Initiatives and the Legion doing the barbecue fundraiser for us." She added, "It seems like we've really gotten back out there. Our community has been amazing considering the size of it. It's great to see our community come together like this." The council is eager to see the playground project come to fruition. Thompson estimates that the current structure is approximately 20 years old. Being made up of wood, it is now showing its age. "There's a lot of screws that shift out of place. We've had some kids get hurt on the screws," Thompson explained. "We've had wasps in the sand too, so we're looking at replacing the sand base with more of a pea stone base." She added, "It's definitely needed, and we hope that we can get it sooner rather than later." Direct donations can be made to the Parent-Teacher Council at any time by direct e-transfer to cell number 204-841-3223 or by calling that same number to contact Thompson. Thompson can also be reached via email at pattylj0414@msn.com. The Parent-Teacher Council is always on the lookout for funding from a variety of grants to assist with the funding as well. Neepawa UCT donates water to the fire department. Neepawa UCT 924 President Jason Nadeau Wright, presenting bottles of water to Fire Chief Eve Gillis, left on behalf of the Neepawa UCT 924. Neepawa UCT 924 is an active service club in our community supporting residents. When we cannot directly help others, we support the people who help and serve residents in our community in their most needed time. UCT is proud to help support the Town of Neepawa Fire Department with a donation of water in order to support all members of the fire department as they work hard to keep Neepawa and areas safe. This donation completes our aim to present money or products to 5 local organizations since 2021. And more flooding. The RM of Glenella Landstone declares a state of emergency. thousands of acres of farmland underwater, roads being cut. Flood conditions are quite significant in the Glenelg-Lansdowne area, with rainy weather remaining in the forecast at the time this paper went to print. Pictured above and below is some of the land in the area, which has become a temporary lake. By Ken Waddell. Water levels in the arm of Glenelg-Lansdowne had actually stabilized or started to drop, but with additional rain and runoff coming through early in the week, the municipality declared a state of emergency. Many thousands of acres of farmland have been flooded. The emergency status allows the municipality to cut roads to allow water to run off the land. RMCAO Wendy Wutsky said in a phone interview with the Neepawa Banner and Press, "No homes or businesses are threatened yet, and so far no cattle are under threat. Crop and hayland is covered with floodwaters, though. Due to wet conditions and the cut roads, caution must be taken when traveling in this municipality. Across much of southern Manitoba, farmers are not able to get on the land to seed their crops. Over the past few years, drought conditions have affected yields, but the heavy snowfall this winter and recent heavy rains have renewed the water levels. Now farmers are anxiously awaiting sunny and drier weather so seeding can begin." And the last signs of winter clearing up at Clear Lake. The last bits of snow and ice lingering signs of winter are steadily disappearing at Clear Lake. Neepawa Banner and Press photographer John Drinkwater was in the area recently to survey it and see how it was faring. Aside from a small remnant of a snow pile and the ice floes pictured above, there were no additional remainders of the chilly winter and heavy snowfall that Rocky Mountain National Park experienced. And that is the news for Friday, May 20th. Thanks for watching.